When should we buy and sell HBAR for the most amount of returns possible? I'm talking about squeezing every last drop in the safest and most effective method. Well, in this video, guys, I'm going to give you a very comprehensive understanding of exactly where I think important price levels are, plus predictions, and where you guys might want to start dollar cost averaging. Now, all of this will be discussed, but of course, first, this is the criteria. Now, I'm not going to go over this. I've gone over this in multiple other videos. You guys can see it all on screen now. Feel free to pause it, but this is essentially how we are going to differentiate whether it's a good time to buy right now and at what different levels, okay? This is a very quick guide anyone can apply to any project, okay? So, is it a good time for us to begin buying now? Anyway, of course, that's where we need to start, right? Well, to put something in perspective, this is Hedera's chart as of the year to date. Now, this is again the 1st of the 1st, 2023. And the reason I use this metric is because that's when Bitcoin had its kind of lowest possible price action in the last few years at $16,500. So this red line indicates that particular point for Hedera, which was about 0.036 cents, the market cap being 915 million and about 25 billion tokens in circulation. Now, fast forward to where we are over here, the 8th of May, 2023, we can see the price has shot up about a 1.5x, aka 150%. Now, this can seem confusing. That essentially means about a 2.5x, okay? Now, the current price of about 0.54 cents, the market cap is about $1.7 billion, and the circulating supply is 31.3 billion tokens. So it has increased about 20%. So when we're talking about a good time to buy, yes, this actually is a good time to buy because, you know, if we were elevated, say 3, 4, 500%, that's a different story. That might not be a good time for us to buy. And there are multiple projects out there. So actually HBAR's not too bad, at least right now. So how do we actually go ahead and find where the price can be in future? Now, it's important we actually do this, okay, do the price prediction, because this will give us some direction as to where we should begin dollar cost averaging based on our expected returns. So it's simple, right? Market dominance can be used in this case to find demand. Now, we will look at two assumptions in this case for the quickest possible answer. Again, you guys can go ahead and apply this to any of your favorite projects. And we're going to divide that by the vesting / emissions. The vesting, of course, being token unlocks, and the emissions being like if there's a steady inflation rate. Now, there's actually about a 10% average year-on-year vesting for Hedera. They don't actually have a clear vesting schedule because it's a business and the unlocks are unpredictable, okay? Now, there actually is zero inflation, aka emissions, because once the 50 billion tokens are in circulation, well, that's it. No more are going to be printed, okay, which is really good. Now, those two assumptions, right, we can obviously predict the circulating supply because, again, we're going to average out about 20% over the next 2 years, aka 10% per year. So this is the hard part, but again, it's made easy with this technique. So the first assumption we have to calculate is the global market cap needs to hit $10 trillion in 2025/2026, therefore 3xing from the previous all-time high in 2022, being about $3 trillion. Now, the reason I think it can get to this is because of institutional and national demand opposed to just retail curiosity. Now, this does hinge on the fact of, you know, market clarity, regulation coming in and frameworks being implemented and things like that, but I think it's definitely possible even if it doesn't happen. Now, the second sort of assumption we have to make is actually looking at the market dominance of Hedera versus its price action. This is very important, right? So this is the market dominance versus price chart. Market dominance being in purple, price being in this weird reddish pink color. Now, as you can see here, the highest possible dominance HBAR actually went to was back at the previous bull market. It hit a peak of 0.25% at the price of about 26 cents, aka a market cap of 4.73 billion and a circulating supply of 18.1 billion tokens. So quite a bit of tokens have come into circulation from then until now, of course. But the interesting thing is, this wasn't at the all-time high price-wise of the project. As you can see with HBAR, the interesting thing is, it tends to break away from price and come back down. Break away from price, come down. Break away from price, come down. And we've seen it break away and it's coming down. But ultimately, somewhat recently, it almost got to its all-time high at 0.23%, okay? So it's broken away, and we don't typically find this with many projects. Now, why even concern ourselves with this? Well, market dominance is the market cap of that particular project, in this case, obviously HBAR, versus the entire crypto global market cap, meaning that obviously if HBAR is 0.25% of $10 trillion, well, we can come to some pretty interesting numbers based on that. Therefore, my 2025 price prediction, I'm going to assume something very bold, but I'm really confident in this. I believe HBAR will outperform the market, meaning the minimum I see the global, HBAR's market dominance being is again at the 0.25%. Now, why is this me saying it's going to outperform the market? Well, remember, this is against the whole entire market. So it has to maintain its market share as other projects are getting better as well. So I actually think it's going to go a lot better than this. We'll touch on that in a second. Okay, so if we look at the market dominance, aka the demand, I'm going to expect a minimum of $25 billion in this project come 2025. Again, it's the benchmark from the previous all-time high. Now, of course, we can estimate supply based on previous information, but again, it's not going to be certain, but roughly going on an average, it should be around 36.3 billion HBAR tokens. Now, if everything were to stay the same, if there was no more increase in market cap, no one was buying the token, everything were the same, the one variable that changed were to be the circulating supply was to increase to this number, we would see the token price fall 0.012 or just over 1/10 of a cent, okay? So it's important to take this into consideration because if we buy from the current price less this number here, well, we're pretty much, accounting for inflation. Therefore, we're beating inflation by just simply buying in cheaper if that time ever comes, okay? Nevertheless, the most important feature or metric we're finding from this is the price of 0.69 cents. And before any of you guys comment something funny down below, right? Now, the max side of things, I'm going to assume the market dominance goes up 2%. Now, this is simply because we saw Hedera breaking away from price consistently and then coming back up again. And I think based on just how many people love this project and their connections, I'm going to talk about some important metrics or upcoming events in just a second that will support this bullish feature. I think max it can do 200 billion. Matter of fact, it could definitely go more, but I don't want to give you guys a bunch of hopium. I want to be somewhat realistic here, so that's why I've got this somewhat reasonable but highly ambitious number, okay? So, again, it's ambitious, but Hedera can definitely push this far. So, of course, the circulating supply is the exact same. Therefore, the price per token, given the $200 billion market cap, will be $5.50. So, what do we even start doing? Well, before we look at plotting this information, we need to obviously figure out what our, where we're going to want to buy, right? What our mental game is, why we're even bothering investing in Hedera. So what is the minimum you are expecting from this investment? Is it a 10x? Is it a 40x? Is it a 90x? You need to ask yourself, because if your thought is, I want a 90x from Hedera, minimum, you got the wrong project. Hedera is too far gone for that to happen in 2025. Yes, that might happen in 2030 plus, of course. But 2025, you're probably kidding yourself, right? So you need to reevaluate why you're investing. And now that we've got the minimum it can possibly go to and the maximum, you can begin finding out where you begin dollar cost averaging based on those numbers. So what this actually looks like and what I'm going to actually do is take my initial investment out at the minimum of 69 cents. So if I put in $100,000, I'm going to take my initial investment at the $100,000 out at 69 cents, and then I'm going to ladder sell to $5.50, buying at $0.05 or less. This is my dollar cost average level, selling just before resistance levels. I know that might not make a lot of sense to some of you, so let's break it down, okay? Now, this is the 0.05 level. I've marked it with the green dotted line, okay? This is the existing price action, and this is how high. It's definitely skewed it, right? We've zoomed out that far. But essentially, my thoughts are, based on my personal expectations and profit I want from Hedera, I'm happy to start dollar cost averaging at $0.05 because, again, that 69 cent level up here is my initial investment out. So if I invest 10 grand, it's all coming out at this level here. Then from this level, remember the minimum to the very, very maximum of $5.50, I'll be doing ladder selling before key resistance levels. Particularly important in uncharted areas. Different story when you start plotting sell levels in these prices, because prices been there before. There's clear resistance and support levels, but when it's uncharted, it's all psychological. You're trying to predict what other people are trying to do, and most people go, okay, $2, $1, 50 cents, 20 cents, 10 cent levels, right? Depends obviously on how much we're talking about the price of the project. But of course, Hedera, we're talking about cents here. So my idea is I'm actually going to sell in increments of 0.05 cents. So as you can see up here, Or I say 0.05 cents. It's just 5 cents, right? My selling is boom, 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 but I've offset it, right? So it's not neat, 0.75 cents, it's 0.74 cents. And then we go up in 5% increments from there, or 5-cent increments rather. So what this actually does is, most people are thinking of those nice round numbers, 0.75 cents, 0.8 cents. Well, what we're doing is we're taking our profits just before that to be secure. Matter of fact, for some larger projects like Quant Network, for example, you don't want to be selling at, dollar increments because you'll drive yourself nuts. You can definitely make sell orders at that, but what you really need to do is find, okay, what are people talking about the most? It might be $5 increments. At least that's what I would do. So then I'm selling at $4 or $3 sometimes in increments, because you will guarantee that return while other people are kind of scrambling. And obviously, guys on the tops, right? They go up and they come down very quickly. So you want to guarantee returns. Now, of course, if this 12x isn't suitable for you, if you're like, nah, I want a minimum of a 20x, right? Well, it's simple. I'm buying at 0.05 cents. All you got to do is move this level down a little bit, okay? You just move it down until this, hitting at 0.69 cents, becomes a 20x. So this way, you can go, okay, well, the price needs to hit 1 cent. And, you can think to yourself, oh, there's no way the price is hitting 1 cent. So what you do is you just become more feasible with it, or you change your projects, right? Very, very simple. So where should we buy and sell? This is just simply what I was talking about, but it's able to be screenshot. I've made it very, very simple for you guys. I know most of you on your phones, so go ahead and screenshot this if you would like. But essentially, again, buy under the 5 cents. This is at least the screen I showed you before, and find your minimum return on investment. If that's what it is, great, okay? Dollar cost average from there, of course, anything down from that level, and sell at 69 cents, or the minimum we expect the project to go to, and take your initial investment out. Do not get greedy. And remember to ladder sell any point past that. So let's talk about some of the important bullish events that make me so, bullish on Hedera, right? So first of all, sharded hash graph. They are the only hash graph in the entire ecosystem, and they're now moving or looking to become infinitely scalable with obviously endless possibilities. So they're sharding something that no one else has. So there's incredible opportunities right there. Next is steps to permissionless, right? The network is on the path to being permissionless in terms of their nodes. Now, the governing council, of course, will still be focused on board-like matters. So they're looking at creating the node to be fully permissionless. Of course, there's still going to be the governing council. They're making some of those final decisions, right? Supply shock. So there's, again, only 50 billion tokens, and it is very sustainable because the staking reward system relies on the community to, give them, pretty much essentially burn their own tokens, right, to put into the staking account that distributes the rewards. And lastly, but definitely not least, enterprise friendly. Now, the network is being built around large scale businesses plus obviously retail, okay? So got the best of both worlds. They're catering themselves to be an enterprise grade network. And I think when they shard the network, there possibly could be situations where they give shards to different networks as an enterprise solution independently. And obviously retail market, right? We can build applications on top of it. It's of course built for Web3. Now also features like advanced staking and scheduled transactions, as well as a lot more. Pretty much very, very bullish for enterprise use. This is very good for applications and developers to let pretty much their creativity run wild. Now, of course, last but definitely not least, is they have the governing council to leverage, meaning they're going to form connections within these large organizations that ultimately they can call up at some time in the future and open themselves up to new markets, right? But the most important thing you guys really have to remember, the most important event of all is liking this video, and thank you to Armzilla for being in the comments, providing lots of support to me and the community. Appreciate you. And guys, these take a long time. I really appreciate it if you like it. Nevertheless, I'm just happy you're here. So if you want to know more about Hedera, definitely let me know. I'll put some videos up on the screen now. God, I've made tons of videos going really, really in depth with this project. So I would encourage you to watch them if you are fans of this amazing protocol. All right, guys, hopefully this has helped you, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.